Hello, everybody. Welcome to another earth-shattering edition of the My Colony podcast. This is Brandon Stecklein, the developer of the game, the esteemed developer of the game. And I know it's been quite a while since I've done a podcast, and this is going to be a short one too. I'm recording this approximately, depending on how long it takes me, 1 or 2 days before I release the 0.99.0 update to the game, which is the Alpha Draconian update. And I just wanted to give everybody a heads up on, what's happened over the last few months since the last podcast, what's coming next, and so on and so forth. So, the last update that was recently released about 2 weeks ago was 0.98.0, the Zolarg update. And if you listen to this early, that's the one that you have right now, probably. That one added, I don't remember exactly, it was like 20 new buildings to the Zolarg team. They had been languishing for some time with badly needed new content, so I went ahead and took care of that for them. And in the upcoming update, which is 0.99.0, the same thing is happening to the Alpha Draconian team, the Reptilians. They're getting a big content update with, I think, 19 buildings, unless I get ambitious and add something else tomorrow morning. I don't see that happening. And it's pretty much like the Zolarg one. There's a lot of stuff Reptilians needed. This one gives them new storage buildings, new power buildings, the ability to make robots, the ability to make triantanium. It also adds a new resource called cobalt, which is a metal that is only found on the lava world. And not only that, it is only found by the volcanic eruptions on the water world. So it's going to be a very rare resource, very hard to get. And this is continuing the trend I started I don't know how many updates ago, with having different map-specific resources on different maps. So we have the Abandoned World now, has the Ether resource, and that's the only map you can get it on. The Water World has both the fish and the saltwater resources. That's the only place you can get those. And now the Lava World has cobalt. And my goal going forward is to have each map have a resource that can only be obtained on that map. And so the only way to get it, if you're not playing on that map, is by doing online trades. Which of course means on single player these resources won't be available. But I'm not putting them, how should I say this? They're not going to be resources that are absolutely required to progress, but they are going to be things that unlock special buildings. So in that sense, online colonies are going to have a heads up, or a leg up on non-online colonies, but that's fine, because it's mostly going to be late game stuff, and it's going to be like convenience type buildings rather than necessity type ones. And so be looking for the 0.99.0 Alpha Draconian update coming soon. It might already be out by the time you listen to this. And if you haven't tried Reptilians yet, it's a good idea to give them a try. Try out the Lava World with Reptilians. I know it's a really hard map, but it's a fun one. Well, depends on your definition of fun. And the Water World map also with Reptilians is going to be pretty good. I've added a lot in regards to that. So go ahead and try it out. And if you haven't played the last update, it was, as I said, the Zolarg update. If you haven't played a Zolarg map in a while, right now is a good time to try it out, because you can get quite a bit further now with them than you ever could before. So I'd really recommend it. And if you haven't played in a while, some other things that have come out lately, there's been a lot of interface type improvements. I added a feature recently, which a lot of people love, which lets you group multiple builders into one. One of the biggest problems on mobile, especially Android, has been if you have a lot of rovers and a lot of builders and you start moving them around, it can really just lag your game down, especially on a larger map. So what I did was added the ability to group however many builders together into one unit. So on your game, it looks like it's just one unit, but it takes the place of like 80 or 100, or I'm sure you could put 1,000 if you wanted to. I haven't tried that, but I've heard it works. And so that one unit will go and build, however many the speed of the building of that unit will be however many times faster as to how many you group together, if that makes sense. Just go ahead and try it on your game, and you'll see what I'm talking about right away. Better than I can put it into words. And so what I want to talk about now before I wrap this up, 'cause like I said, I don't want to sit here talking all evening. But this upcoming release, 0.99.0, is going to be the last beta version of My Colony. I've been calling it beta since it came out in 2016, and people always kind of troll me about it, how the game has been in beta forever. And so since the next update is going to be the 100th feature update to My Colony, I figure, what better time than to actually start calling it version 1.0. So the 100th update is going to be version 1.0, and it's going to be a special one. It's going to take me longer than normal to do for a few reasons. First of all, it's going to have new features and new content, which is going to take a while. But also, the rest of this month, there's Thanksgiving here in the United States. I'm going to be gone for a while for that. And December, for those of you who don't know about the app development business, December is like the biggest month of the year in terms of just downloads and revenue and stuff like that. And other than My Colony, I have a pretty big library of apps and games, and I want to get everything updated and fixed up for the December season. And so I have all that stuff to work on, which I'm going to do in between 0.99.0 and 1.0. So the time in between those updates is going to be a little longer than normal, which is why I'm trying to make version 99.0 really good. So hopefully there's no complaints during the few weeks of dead time there. But that's fine. And one thing I want to do, since this is going to be a big release and really a milestone for the game, is I want to do a special edition of this podcast, the My Colony podcast, probably on Discord. Maybe if you guys have listened to the podcast for a while, you might remember back in the day, like a long time ago when I started doing it, I would get on the Discord channel and have other people from the My Colony community in on the show, and we'd all get in there and talk about My Colony and whatnot. And so I want to do another one of those, and we're just gonna be talking about the game, where it's been, what we like about it, just having a good time. And anybody who's listening to this is welcome to be a part of the podcast. Since it's been so long since I did it, I don't remember exactly what I used to record the Discord, and I don't really have a Discord for the My Colony, so I might see if one of our esteemed federations will let me borrow their Discord channel for the recording of that podcast. So stay tuned for that. I'll post when I know closer to the release day. I'll post more information about it in the forum, and I might do a few days in advance a podcast just announcing the date and time for that podcast. And so if you want to be a part of that, please stay tuned. And if you know a good way to record a Discord podcast with multiple people talking, just let me know on the forum. Send me a private message, because I want it to be good. I want the recording to be good quality. And I just want us to have a good time talking about My Colony and then sharing our ideas for what's coming after version 1.0. Because just because I'm calling it 1.0, even though it is a milestone, but to me it's really just a number. I'm still going to be doing business as usual, working on the game. So in that sense, nothing's going to change. But anyway, so those are my plans. That's really all I wanted to talk about in this podcast. I know a lot of people like the podcast. The problem with it is I don't like recording it. You could probably just listen to me and tell I'm not Mr. Podcast here. It's kind of hard for me to just sit here and talk to my computer for 10 minutes. It's kind of awkward. So anyway, if you like the podcast, just let me know in the forum. Subscribe to it, I guess, on whatever platform you're listening to it on. And stay tuned for the 0.99 update, which should be hitting in a couple days, and be looking forward to the big 1.0 update. I'm going to finally stop calling the game beta. I'm not going to, hide behind the, it's just a beta game thing anymore. So A lot of exciting stuff coming for my colony. Stay tuned for more. Thanks for listening, and take care.